In this video, I'll show you 3 different ways that you can outline text while embroidering. First, cut the length of embroidery floss so that it's from the edge of your finger to the center of your body. Then you're going to split the floss in half from the center. So this means you'll have 3 plies of the floss on either side of the strand. This makes it so it's not quite so thick and is easier to get through the needle and the fabric. Sometimes it's a little tricky to get the thread on the needle, so you can use one of these needle threaders, which goes through the eye of the needle, and then you put the thread through that little wire and then pull through. Next, you're going to transfer whatever word you want to have onto your fabric and make sure that you have some stabilizer behind it so that your fabric doesn't fall apart as you start to embroider. To begin, I leave a little bit of a tail, about 1 to 2 inches, on the back side, and then I make a really teeny tiny stitch that's vertical. After that, I'm going to make a horizontal stitch so that I create the world's smallest T in order to stabilize my thread. I do this instead of a knot. This first stitch we're going to be doing is called a split stitch. You're going to be taking a single stitch that's about 1/8 of an inch long, and then you're going to stitch up from the top of it just slightly so that you're splitting the stitches, and it provides a nice continuous line that you can see really clearly. You'll continue the split stitch throughout the rest of your letter, and then once you get to the end, you're going to do one last split stitch. And for this last top split stitch, you're going to go through again so that you have that little stitch at the very top of the last part of your letter. And then you can start to weave the needle through the previous stitches on the back side. If you keep the back side of your embroidery work clean, you're able to put more things on your embroidery. If it gets a little thick, it can become difficult to continue stitching. For our next stitch, we're going to be doing a chain stitch. So I'm going to begin the first way that I did before with a teeny tiny little T or X in order to stabilize my thread. After that, I'm going to come up on the end of my letter, and then I'm going to make sure that I'm leaving a little loop. I'll be stitching directly where I just put my original stitch, but then I'm going to leave a little loop and I'm going to go up through the edge of it, making a little chain. So again, I'm going to go back from where I started and then leave a little loop of the thread, and I'll continue to do this around the entirety of the letter. Once you get to the last couple of letters, you'll simply go down through to connect the last part of your letter, and you're going to weave your remaining embroidery floss through a few of the stitches on the back and clip your thread so there's about 1/8 of an inch left, and that's the chain stitch. For our last stitch, you might need to rethread your needle. You can do this either with the needle threader or without. I'm going to begin the same way with my little T or X in order to stabilize the fabric, making sure that I leave a little bit on the back. And then we are going to create some French knots. So to create a French knot, I'll be coming up from the back, wrapping the thread around the needle 2 times, and then pulling it through. So again, I'm coming from the back, really close to where my previous stitch was, wrapping the thread around the needle 2 times, and then pulling it through. The secret to the French knot is really the tension that you're holding on the left side of the work. If you're right-handed, it'll be vice versa if you're left-handed. And then once you have your last stitch, you'll simply go through, flip your work off to the back, and weave it in.